Hey everybody, how's it going? Now, my name's Brad Kosis, and today I really wanted to talk about a form of media that makes me question myself as a person every time I think about it. I mean, I thought that now would be a really good time to reflect on myself as a gamer, looking back to, well, the game that broke me when I first played it. I'm going to be looking at Metal Gear Solid today. So if you don't know anything about the Metal Gear franchise and don't want anything spoiled, don't watch this video. I'm going to be analyzing very specific elements of the game's storytelling and directional decisions from the mastermind, Hideo Kojima. And just to clarify, I'm only going to be looking at this one, unfortunately. If I could look at them all, I would. I definitely would. But Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation is what I'm going to be looking at today. So this is going to be super biased, but I honestly don't care. You've been spoiler warned at this point, and also, this is coincidentally my favorite game of all time. So you're kind of screwed on that front. So Metal Gear Solid has you taking control of the main protagonist, which is named Solid Snake, as he's infiltrating the remote Alaskan military base known as Shadow Moses. Your mission is to find out the reason why certain members of your old military squadron called Foxhound are here. Foxhound consists of members Revolver Ocelot, Vulcan Raven, Decoy Octopus, Sniper Wolf, Psycho Mantis, and finally Liquid Snake. Also, Solid Snake used to be a part of Foxhound, but that's irrelevant at this point. So when I first encountered Metal Gear Solid, I was going into my sophomore year of high school, if I remember correctly, so that's about 3 years ago today, if I'm not mistaken, actually. It wasn't that long ago, actually. I didn't think I'd really like it at all because it was a stealth-based game, and I'm horrible at them. Seriously, you'll pay money to take over playing Splinter Cell for me because I'm so bad at staying hidden. When I first played Metal Gear Solid, I finished it in around 11 hours accumulated. To my huge surprise, I loved it. It was so good. Like, so much so that next weekend I started playing it again. And I started playing it around, like, 11:30 at night. I stayed up all night and finished it at 5 in the morning. Yep, I sat in one spot for 6.5 hours. Playing this game. I cried at the end of the game, for God's sake. I honestly don't know if it was because of exhaustion or just because it reached me so much easier this time around because I knew exactly what it was trying to do. I think I'll have to rule out exhaustion because on this particular playthrough, it was a breeze. I didn't die a single time. I was so surprised how I retained almost everything that happened in the game. I mean, so much so that I planned accordingly for every event that happened. That, my friends, is retention. So now this is the part of the review where we start talking about the events that happen in the game that are very, very spoiler related. You have been warned. So for this particular story, I'm going to be focusing on the bad ending. During my first playthrough, when Snake gets captured by Liquid and the rest of the members of Foxhound that you haven't killed yet, you're being tortured and are required to mash the circle button, like legit mash the circle button to keep Snake's health up and keep him alive. It's teased by the members that are standing around you that if you didn't save before this interrogation event, you'd have to start from before Sniper Wolf's fight that you'd have to do before this event. So that scared me a lot. I was lucky during my first playthrough because I mashed the shit out of this button and I was able to keep Snake alive, luckily. And to my surprise, I didn't know that there was any other ending at that point because it was only my first time playing the game. So I just assumed that was just a normal ending, you know? But then a thought occurred to me before I started my second playthrough. I'm like, what if Snake gives in to the interrogation? Let's find out. My second playthrough, I guess there was a bad ending. So throughout the game, Snake has a love interest by the name of Meryl. It's a weird kind of relationship because Meryl is you kind of just find out about her once Snake gets to Shadow Moses. He really has no intention of, like, this being a rescue mission by any means, and he just only finds out about this character once he gets to Shadow Moses. But I digress. Before you acquire the means to fight Sniper Wolf, Meryl is shot 3 different times by Wolf. If I remember correctly, it was once in the gut, in the leg, and then she tries to reach for a gun with her arm, and then she gets shot in the arm as well. After you come back with the means to fight Wolf, Meryl's gone, which, I mean, that's obvious. Somebody was going to take her if you left to get a sniper rifle and then go all the way back. Yeah, somebody's going to take her. It's just kind of common sense. You just leave somebody on the ice. She'd die if she was left on the ice. So then the rest of the game is centered around you not only destroying Metal Gear Rex, which is the big, which is like the giant-ass robot that's based off of a dinosaur that is basically a nuclear walking death tank. Yeah, the rest of the game is centered around you finding and destroying Rex, and finding and saving Meryl, if she's alive or not. In the good ending, which is also the canonical ending, Snake is able to save Meryl, and they go on living together. You know, that's typical action movie thing. In the bad ending, Meryl dies. It's so much more devastating than it seems, believe me. When you play this game, you have so much time to connect with these characters that it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to see them go through such turmoil. It sucks! When I think about it, I think that's the reason why I ended up crying at the end. So the reason why I think that this is the greatest video game of all time, at least in my eyes, is very obvious. I'm also not obligating any of you to agree with me for any reason whatsoever. You can feel free to have your own opinions about anything, especially when it comes to video games. This is so diverse of a culture. I mean, hell, most Metal Gear fans prefer the sequels over this one. Like, I feel like I'm the only Metal Gear fan that really, really prefers the original over 2 or 3. I'm not even kidding. It makes me feel super alone. I love this game's ability to tell a story through interacting with not only the world that it's created for itself, but with you as the player. Throughout the game, there were so many fourth wall breaking sequences that blew my mind when I first played it. Even though that at that point when I played the game, it was 27 years old. And it's 30 years old this year. The game came out in 98. It's 2018. I did do my math right, correct? Regardless, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to go through all of these fourth wall breaking sequences. Otherwise, I really would, because I freaking love them. Every time I play this game, I feel like a little kid again. When my grandfather would read me stories, and with this game, it makes me remember those Tom Clancy story excerpts that he would always read me. Being that this is roughly based off of, espionage. I mean, it even says in the title, tactical espionage action. And every time I pick up the game, like, all of these memories just come flooding back, and I'm reminded constantly of why I love this game so much. Yep, I'm holding my hands up. I'm looking at this game with nostalgia glasses. But like I said, this is a biased video. Whenever I finish this game again, it helps me to remember those who actually put themselves in harm's way to protect us and fight for our freedoms that we really enjoyed. Like, I respect everyone who has ever fought for our country. It also helps me to not take for granted the little things in life, the things that make life so precious. Life itself, love, compassion, companionship, honesty. I could go on for ages. And that's why I think Metal Gear Solid is the greatest video game to ever be released. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this and bearing with me that this, by no means, is a perfect game. I know that. There's no such thing as any kind of perfect video game, movie, song. Nothing in this world is perfect. I understand that. This is just, in my eyes, my personal favorite. And I just really want to say thank you again for bearing with me through it. I'll see you all tomorrow.